So there are currently a ton of intriguing storylines around college football, but for the purposes of this video, we are going to identify and talk about two of them. First, when speaking about the national championship, Nick Saban had an interesting yet unsurprising message about preparation. And secondly, we need to talk about there not being a college football playoff expansion until at least the 2026 season and what this means. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Y for yes, N for no. Are you surprised there's not going to be a playoff expansion until at least 2026? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoy this content, like and comment down below. Those interactions may seem small, but they truly are massive to content creators such as myself, and both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But with all of that being said, let's hop right into this, and we will start with Nick Saban's message on preparation, because when speaking about the national championship, Nick Saban said there were players who didn't capitalize on preparation and then therefore didn't capitalize when the lights were the brightest. And if you've followed Nick Saban for any extended period of time, this message comes as absolutely no surprise. We're talking about an individual that is process-oriented, and there may be no bigger component to the process than preparation, because Nick Saban is all about how your preparation will ultimately reflect the result. Don't worry about the result, because if you're doing the right thing every day to improve, the result will inevitably take care of itself. And so whenever we hear Nick Saban give this rant, it doesn't come as a surprise to me. Now, it is my opinion, though, that the who is much less important than the what. And what do I mean when I say that? Well, because Nick Saban said there were players who didn't capitalize on preparation, to me, the who and who those players are far less important than the ultimate message being conveyed to his team, and that is the what. That is how preparation can make a positive change to the end result, and that was the message being utilized. And so that's why it's my opinion that who is unimportant. As long as the what was taken in, that's the most important thing in this rant and in this message Nick Saban is giving. And we all know Nick Saban, whenever he talks to the media, he does it to talk to his team through the media. The master psychologist continues, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Crimson Tide do in their next year's campaign, because a lot of eyes will be watching. But now we need to talk about no college football playoff expansion until at least the 2026 season, in a move that I find both surprising and unsurprising. I find it surprising because college football playoff expansion is an inevitability at this point. When we look at the history of college football, there's always a next step, and specifically when we're talking about the college football playoff era, the inevitable next step is an expansion. And so at this point, with all the talk surrounding it, for as long as the talk has been surrounding it, I am partially surprised that the committee didn't vote to expand the college football playoff. However, by that same token, I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised for a reason that may not carry as much weight, but at the same time, this was a 12-year contract and it's set to end in 2025, which is right around the corner. And with the college football landscape being set to change so drastically between now and then, both in terms of teams moving around conferences and what have you, I wasn't surprised when the committee and the powers that be chose to maintain the status quo until the end of this contract and then revisit the conversation. But let's get one thing clear. This conversation is going nowhere, and college football playoff expansion is an inevitability at this point, because once you've introduced the system of 4 teams, the next logical step is expanding to allow more teams in. Now, the exact number is going to be interesting where they ultimately fall on, but at the end of the day, I think most people expect this is a win, not an if the college football playoffs gets expanded. It's just not going to be until after the 2025 season. So, with all of that, hop down to the comments, let me know what you're thinking about both Nick Saban's talk on preparation and no college football playoff expansion until at least 2026. That's it. See ya.